shift the way in which we approach public safety and to finally hold those who are authorized to use deadly force accountable for their actions. For too long, members of all police departments have been able to operate with unchecked power. Out of the last 40 individuals shot and killed by police, of the 65 officers who fired their weapons, 0 were held accountable. 0 discipline was imparted on those individuals. That is unacceptable, and that's why we are bringing 26-217 to your ballots this November. At the current time, this measure has broad community support, from nonprofits to environmental groups to the business community, to all of the major publications and media sources here in Portland. What that means is that everybody in this community understands that this needs to pass. What that means is that everybody understands what police accountability can do to begin to repair trust with the marginalized communities that have been day after day, night after night, year after year attacked by the police. We all know that this needs to change. We all know that this has gone on for far too long. This is our chance to change that. Today we will hear from community leaders, faith leaders, and victims of police violence, or loved ones who have to speak instead of those who were killed by police. There's a trigger warning for some of these stories. If you are somebody who is someone who gets queasy when hearing about violence, I urge you to step away if you feel that that's going to happen. But I want you to know that every individual sharing their story is sharing their story, and we will not censor them. All of those individuals who are speaking about their instances with police violence, they will be available to speak one-on-one, them or their attorneys afterwards. Just before you hear someone you can go to, he'll be able to direct you in the correct direction to get in touch with those individuals. This is just one step in the long road that we must travel to begin to receive justice for our communities. Just one step. Every day as individuals have been marching in the streets, a chant, no justice, no peace, has been cried out. For more than 130 days now since the brutal murder of George Floyd, that chant has been said in the streets every day. Without justice, there can be no peace. This measure allows us to begin on that road to receive that justice. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate all of you. Starting us off today will be one of our lovely steering committee members. He is a resident nurse and a registered nurse. And I'm looking for him right now. I believe he's probably on an important business call, so we will move on. Starting us off will be Dominique Bouchard. Dominique, if you could come up, you're up first. Thank you, and please be respectful to any individuals up here speaking on the microphone.
Several months ago, I was out protesting. I was trying to leave the area. I was shocked by rubber bullets in my leg. Shortly after that, officer jumped out and body slammed me, resulting in a broken wrist. I am still recovering from my surgery. I now have screws in my wrists and a metal plate. I support this measure because I believe it's a step in the right direction for justice and police accountability. And I just want to remind everyone that silence is violence and Black Lives Matter. Thank you.
Hello. My name is Travis Nelson. I'm a board-certified registered nurse. I'm an officer of the Democratic Party of Oregon, and I'm here because it is time that we pass this measure that will finally hold police accountable here in Portland. As a black man, I have been pulled over or stopped by police more than 40 times in my life. I've been thrown against police cars. I've been thrown in the backseat of police vehicles, and it's time that that stopped. Citizens of Portland deserve to have a voice in how they are policed, and it is beyond time that we implement this sensible reform. Black Lives Matter, and I am encouraging each and every one of you watching this today to vote yes for police accountability on or before November 3rd. Thank you.
Next up will be Dr. Reverend Lee.
Since 2003, the Obama Minister Alliance Coalition for Justice and Police Reform has called for an independent citizen review board with the power to compel officers to testify and to discipline officers. Kendra James in 2003, an unarmed black woman was killed by the Portland police officer. Innocent of any crime, shot through the window of her own car. Following her, we have James Chassie beaten to death by Portland police officers. Aaron Campbell shot in the back with his hands up. Keith Notice shot down several times in his car. We've had our George Floyds. We've had our Breonna Taylor. And their spirits still cry out for justice and police reform. We are in a historical moment, a defining moment in the city of Portland. This moment will decide the future, whether we're going to have transformative change in our city, or whether we're going to create a model for our city and for the nation. This measure, 26-217, is a transformative ballot measure. I call upon all the citizens of Portland, if you want to make transformative change, if you want to transform the operation of the Portland police officer, take time and vote for this measure, and we will see a difference. We will see a new foundation. We will see a new re-imaging. Martin Luther King often tells us this is the urgent now. It is urgent. It is now. And we can make a decisive decision to transform the Portland Police Bureau. Vote for measure 26-217. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Haynes. Next up, we'll have Reverend Dr. Mark Newton.
My dear colleague, Dr. Haynes, has set a powerful tone for this day. We've been working for 2.5, 3 decades as part of the Albino Alliance Coalition for Justice and Police Reform to change the way things are. Many in the circle today have been working to overcome white supremacy and systemic racism amongst which many of our institutions are built through their lifetimes. This is a profoundly moral and spiritual issue of our day. to end the violence, especially that perpetrated by those who are called to protect. And so, for me, it's also a very personal issue. I have a very diverse congregation. I have story after story of people who've been pulled over for no reason at all. I come out of a family system where well over 25 members of that immediate family system are African American heritage, including my wife and my son and my mother-in-law and my nieces and nephews. I pray for them every day. When I got my driver's license growing up in Portland, I got it on my 16th birthday. There was no question. My son had to wait till he was 17. He's going to take every course. But he had to learn a course you don't get taught in driver's ed. About how you roll your window down. How you hold your license up. How you are very respectful. You may be treated disrespectfully. Because your life could be at stake. Kendra James, 2003. Aaron Campbell, the same day his brother died in the hospital. Shot dead by a sniper. His family called for help, not bullets. Measure 26217 is starting to take work that's been done for decades and make it a reality. It is a powerful measure we all need to vote. Get your friends, get your family, get everyone to vote. This is no time to sit back and say, oh, I wish it could be. We can start it now. And this will be a measure that will start to transform this nation. It will speak to our rural areas, our suburban areas, our cities, our small towns in the state on how you start to take real change. Our parents taught us, well, what does the Lord require of us but to do justice, love kindness, and walk humbly with our God? It's time to do justice, Portland. It's time to pass Measure 26217. It's time to do justice, Portland. It's time to change institutions built on a faulty and false foundation. It's time to challenge white supremacy and systemic racism in our society, and starting with the police department and reform is the place to start right in this moment. May God bless you as we walk together humbly, but also powerfully, calling for change and calling for this resolution to be, this measure to be passed. Thank you.
Next up, we'll have Tyshawn Ford.
Okay, I'm Tyshawn Ford. I was born and raised in Portland, Oregon, but I organize currently out of Eugene. And Measure 26217 is something that we want to push in Eugene as well, to hold police accountable. Now, when we're talking about police reform, that's been a conversation that hasn't been talked about much recently. It's been a lot about police abolition. But, I think that we need to take the small wins. I think that we need to have these, be happy with these little small changes that we can make to our community. And, police being gone is not something that's going to happen overnight. So if we can have a radical reform, something that's going to make Black people and people of color feel safe in their community, that's something that we definitely need to capitalize on. So voting on Measure 26217 is something that I think is very important to the community, and especially to Black people in the community who haven't felt heard for years and years and years and years. And people are going out there in the streets and they're getting brutalized every single night after night after night. And a lot of the times people are peaceful protesters. So if we can hold the police accountable and make sure that the ones that are committing these horrific crimes to the community are not people having so much power in the community, it'll benefit everybody. It'll benefit Black people. And I think people fail to realize that Black liberation is human liberation. If Black people are liberated, that's going to help everybody. It's just like the civil rights movement, with Martin Luther King and them. Colored people people of color could go to places that said whites only, that wasn't just Black people. That was the Latinx community. That was the indigenous people. So we're fighting for Black liberation as for human liberation as well. And as a young 20-year-old, being an activist from city to city, I don't feel safe by the police. I've never felt safe by the police, and mainly because I feel like the police can do anything they want to me. So if we can hold the police accountable for their actions and make sure that all of our people are feeling safe, and we can push this model in various other places. Like, this is something that needs to happen nationwide. This is a national crisis that we are in. This is a national movement. So if we can push this all over the country and let Portland be the pioneer, the first to do it, then I think that we will see heavy success in this movement. Thank you.
Next up, we'll have Elijah Warren. Oh, all right. Elijah Warren will not be here. Oh, the speaker, was it on? Can you guys all still hear fine? All right. And we'll have Elijah Warren talk to you.
Hi, my name is Elijah Warren, and this is my son, Jalen Warren. On the 100th night of protesting, September 5th, my son and myself, our dog and his friend, were tear gassed inside of our house. After the tear gassing, I went outside to figure out what was going on, and I found a police officer to talk to. He actually was listening to me, to my concerns, when a second police officer brutally struck me on the right side of my face, and I instantly began bleeding from the side of my ear. After he hit me, I asked for a card, but all the police officers that were around him shielded him away and got him from the area. When I walked from the corner of my house back to my house, and I opened the door, I remember the look on my son's face. I could see blood everywhere, covering my face and my neck and all of my clothes. And he asked me what happened, and I told him it was the police who did this to me. And it traumatized myself, it traumatized my son. I went to the hospital. I received a concussion, and it required stitches to close the wound. This is why we have to pass Measure 26-217, so we can hold police accountable. And when I leave here, I'm actually dropping my ballot off. So for those who are watching, please vote yes on Measure 26-217.
Next up, we're going to have kind of a local legend. Dustin will talk.
That's a hell of a start. Can I ask you guys something? Do y'all believe in fate? The man that just spoke, I was right behind him when that happens. Elijah, where you at? Remember me? I was right there. Right there. Police accountability. Police brutality. Let me tell you what you guys don't see on the news every night. Let me see what you guys are missing on social media. Shit like that. Pardon my French. But it's been happening for over 130 nights. And it happens with no accountability. These cops, I won't even talk about me yet. I'll get to me. You guys, if you know me, you know what I've been through in the last 2 weeks. And we'll get there. But let's talk about 130 days plus worth of accountability. Let's talk about cops taking their badges and covering them up. Let's talk about these same cops ignoring, refusing, laughing when you ask for names and badge numbers, and you ask, was it necessary to fucking tear gas the neighborhood? Was it necessary to rip me out of my wheelchair and fucking break my arm 3 different times? Why? Because you fucking hate the fact that Brent Taylor, that I'm standing across from you, asking you why you just did what you did? The same the rest of your officers. And you know what we're met with? We're met with the same people who tell us to go file a report. Guess what? You just beat the shit out of us. And you're telling us to go walk comfortably in there and talk to you After what I've seen for 130 plus nights, you guys, I can't even tell you what I've fucking witnessed. I can't even tell you the brutality I've seen. From medics getting the shit beat out of them. Y'all remember the wall of moms. Y'all remember all the college kids that came out. I'm talking 3 months ago. Don't forget that shit. Don't forget where we came from. Do not forget why we are here. And that's before. We're not even talking about Kendra James. We're not even talking about Patrick Hemmings. I apologize we didn't step up sooner. I apologize on behalf of me personally. That's all I can talk about. I apologize I wasn't here sooner. On behalf of Portland, on behalf of the community that knows me, I'm asking you guys that if you were out 3 months ago, and for whatever reason you maybe step back, I'm asking you to do some research today. I'm asking you to look at these videos. I'm asking you to talk to these people in town. I'm asking you to fucking reach out, because it's getting worse. It's getting worse. Accountability is not here. It's nowhere in sight. I'm begging y'all. The community is begging y'all. Vote. Give these motherfuckers some accountability. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan Dustin. Next up will be Stephanie Babb.
Hi, my name is Stephanie Babb. I'm actually from Eugene, and I'm hoping that this will provide our city an example of what we need to do around the state, and that's why I'm here. I just placed a picture down there, that's my brother. And in 2015, he's a retired captain, Army veteran, and he was on 130% disability for PTSD and TBI. He was on the phone with his VA therapist, who then called police to do a well check. Because he was a veteran, they responded with SWAT. They put snipers on his neighbor's roof, and they brought in an armored vehicle called a Bearcat. He was dead in 45 minutes in his own doorway. So I'm here, I represent not only my brother, the Pacific Northwest Family Circle. These faces down here are all the faces of our loved ones that have been killed by police. We stand together. That makes us strong. We stand for accountability. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. Next up, we'll have Jason Renault.
So my name is Jason Renault, and I've been a board member of the Mental Health Association of Portland for 17 years. And part of the work of that organization, because we are often the people the police beat, has been police accountability. We came very hard at the case of James Chassie, an innocent man with schizophrenia who was brutally beaten to death by 3 bully cops from the Portland Police Bureau. This is quite a while ago. This is 2006. And 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006. 2006 the police surprisingly found themselves innocent several times. The Independent Police Review Board, they couldn't do anything. The district attorney failed to prosecute, failed to file charges. The state attorney general ignored it, even though it was front cover news for years by the time the case was closed. The state certification board, the board that holds the paperwork that allows a law officer their monopoly on violence, did nothing. But really most frustrating was that the city council, that we found that even after they paid out a record sum in a civil suit to the family, they could do nothing. What we discovered, and this was a while ago, by the time we got to the point where the city had really thrown up its hands, 2012 or 2013, that after years of stalling on their part, we discovered that the city council had been emasculated by the police union, by the city attorney's office, by the city risk management office, and mostly by prior administrations. The city councilors were out of their depths. As people and as elected representatives, they really just did not know what to do. So what they did was become silent and say nothing. This brutal killing at the cops were not fired. They were not disciplined. They were not criticized. The city council, police chiefs, silent, all of them. This brutal killing of an innocent man at the hands of our employees was ignored by our elected representatives, who had no control over the police actions. And they were surprised to discover this. They'd been sold out by their predecessors years before in union negotiations. So you think this tear gas business is new? No. The truth is closer that our cops have been unmanaged and unmanageable for decades. And that changes with the passage of 26-217. And I urge your vote yes. Accountability brings credibility, and only with that credibility can police officers claim any honor. I'm not anti-cop. The people I represent need cops because the state legislature and the public health department have abandoned them to jails and drugs and the streets. So I'm not anti-cop. But if they want to keep their jobs, they need to be both manageable and managed. And that starts with being accountable. So that starts with 26-217. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we close, I would like to let all members of the press know that steering committee members, as well as a couple of attorneys and myself, will be standing by afterwards to answer any questions you have. But to close us will be Dr. Haynes.
History is watching us today. History is watching the city of Portland. The world is watching the city of Portland. The nation is watching the city of Portland. And we can say to the city and to the nation and to the world that we're about the business of transformative change. If we would vote in this ballot measure of 26-217, it will lay the foundation for a radical transformation in the Portland Police Bureau. Those who have died on the streets and blood have spilled in the city, crying out that you remember them. Those who have gone to jail and prison are crying out that you remember them. Those that have surrendered their life to justice are crying out that you remember them. We've gone too far to turn around. Justice must come. Police reform must come. Transformation must come. We can't turn around. We got to keep running to see what the end will be. What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When we want it?
Thank you, everybody, for coming out.
I got several questions. So Dominic, hey Dominic.
group of officers. Okay, they're protesting here, clear the home to one of the telling them what's going on. While I was talking, I don't know if it was, you know, people would get clear like he darted off mid-conversation. Ran back to where he was talking to me. So when the press we started the conversation. Second officer came out over.